We are the restaurant brokers, and we sell restaurants.
We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm over a decade ago.
Atlanta, Georgia was our starting point, but our brand is spreading nationwide. We define restaurant brokerage and help buyers just like these.
Our dream, our goal, open up a restaurant, loving life, serving people breakfast and lunch, and then enjoying the rest of the day with them and ourselves.
Buying an existing restaurant, leasing a closed restaurant space, or purchasing a restaurant franchise, we help buyers satisfy their appetite for acquisition.
I'm part of a husband and wife team with this fella.
Working with my wife has been a lot of fun. The ultimate goal for everybody here is to make this work. And because we have different strengths, we bring different angles to the deal.
The process begins with our powerhouse website, WeSellRestaurants.com, where buyers sign online confidentiality agreements and browse restaurants for sale.
Then we send buyers undercover to check out a restaurant and decide if it's the right one for them.
Buyers get our proprietary business analysis tool with all the financial details on the business for sale.
After studying the restaurant inside and out, it's back to our office.
We are deal makers. We write contracts and negotiate terms for buyers and sellers. That's why we sell more restaurants than any other firm in the nation. We are the restaurant brokers. Our name says it all. You're back on the air with Eric and Robin Gagnon, the restaurant brokers, and We Sell Restaurants, the largest restaurant brokerage company in the nation, based on the number of listings, transaction count, and volume. Now it is time for us to take what we have been talking about, sweet restaurant concepts, and Eric, inject our own restaurant broker set of reality. What do you think?
Well, I'm kind of torn here. As a restaurant broker and also as a fan of sweet stuff, I love this show today, and we have learned so much from these two, from Elfie Weiss and Michelle Stephen today about a bit more about what makes it so special and what the concept has evolved. And, one of the things that we've learned is, even if dessert was the main thing, they've evolved into lunch and breakfast and pairing against that. I mean, we've heard anything from red velvet to chocolate to cheese to all kind of various things all mixed into this to make it still true to their sweetness, but also make it a whole full service experience.
Yeah, we've talked about this in the past. Eric, you can't just go out as a one-hit wonder. You've got to have a little bit more in your restaurant repertoire than that. So I found it very interesting as we're talking about someone who maybe have started out just doing cupcakes, but now you pair that with alcohol. Well, what does that do for you? The reality is you introduce alcohol into the mix, your gross margin goes up. Your gross margin goes up, your net income comes into play, and gross sales go up. So you want to sell somebody a cupcake for $5.75 or $8.50, or you want to pair it with wine and give them an experience and make that a $15 item. Makes a lot more sense if you're in the restaurant business.
Absolutely. Even beer. We heard she had cupcake and beer tasting. I mean, if you get a high-end beer, craft beer for $8 and a cupcake for $5, that's a $13 ticket.
Right.
I mean, this is a very nice, afternoon lunch or snacks, like she talked about. Now, the sweets are throughout the day. So, and this is something that I think if you have a restaurant that, everybody's always been, in the past and still today, those of you who go to restaurants, would you like dessert? And nine times out of 10 people say no, because that you have to do more. But I mean, I think sweet is a big part. If you can describe it, people are more visual. I mean, we talk about video blogs, we talk about written blogs today as well that are describing things. We talk about a little bit about what we talk about the cookbooks,
right?
For sweetness cookbooks. And I mean, so this is more and more visual stuff. So if you have a restaurant right now, you need to really look at your sweet program and figure out a way to get more promotion and revamp the way you're doing the offerings to your customers.
What is that restaurant that brings everything out in a little shot glass? But I think that after dinner presentation of the sweets, I mean, especially something that's kind of small, I just wonder what their add-on to the ticket is, and what percentage of their meals are added up with a sweet or dessert at the end versus the typical restaurant. Because to your point, yes, no is the first word we as humans learn in the English language to say no to something. So somebody comes out and says, "Would you like dessert?" No. But then when they present it on a beautiful tray in front of us and we see that it's gorgeous and it's enticing, and there's just a little bit of chocolate there, and somebody can say, "Oh, well, this one's just 120 calories." It's a little bit of a luxury, but guess what? That average ticket just went up by, what is it, $4, $5, $6?
Yeah, and the margins are very good on sweet desserts. And you may not have, maybe you are still buying your desserts at Costco or something, but there's a lot of people out there doing desserts, custom desserts for a very affordable price that can be a signature item for you or your restaurant. So you don't have to bring in a pastry chef. You don't have to make it a big thing, but you actually can get very good quality desserts now, pre-made for you, that looks delicious, and like Robin said, present to the table. Have your sales team, which is your server force, describe that in a way that is decadent, or maybe you give them like a little bite size. How many restaurants now give you a little sip of wine? Say, hey, try this wine. If you like it, get a glass. Well, maybe, hey, get a bite of that sweet dessert and see if you like it. We'll bring you a piece.
Right. I love that idea. And, I think often what people want is just that little sweet finish at the end, just that little taste. And I've often seen a presentation where it literally is on almost like one of those oversized spoons, and it's just enough. But again, it takes that average ticket up, and it just finalizes a meal. It really gives a really sweet high note to the end of a meal. And I think dessert is probably one of those underutilized categories in the restaurant. Although my husband will never leave a restaurant without asking to look at the dessert menu.
Absolutely. But how many times you raise your hand? Only one hand if you're in the car, okay? If you are having a dessert and sharing it with the table. So a lot of times the desserts are big portions. Like Robin said, maybe you take that portion, cut it in 4, and then you have one little piece, but instead of getting $8, people say, I'm not spending $8 on a dessert, even if you split it, but you can spend, $2 or $3 on that extra push, and that, you do that 50, 100 times a week. That's a very nice add-on to the bottom. You must start maximizing this dessert. I think is, we're seeing different things. We talk a lot about cupcakes today and things like that, but, we've heard about cronut. Recently, Dunkin' Donuts have their own cronut that just came on the market. Huge success. What's next? Who knows? But if you stay up with these trends, you go to the Nichelle's blog. A lot of bakers are sharing their information, their intel, what they're working on through the blog. Maybe you want to blog and have video and use that in your website or something to show your if you have a pastry chef, to show how to do these beautiful pastries and make people excited about it. When they come to your restaurant for your food, they still want to make sure they don't lose that dessert option.
Okay, and speaking of dessert options, if you have an interest in getting into the restaurant business and you want your own dessert-focused restaurant. Eric, do we have a franchise like that for sale? Oh,
my God, yes, we do. And if you like the taste of it, you will know first by the smell of it. Cinnabon, which is one of the most famous, if you've gone to a food court anywhere in America, in a mall, you've probably seen Cinnabon. We have some Cinnabon available in the state of Georgia, some in the Atlanta metro, some in South Georgia. Making money. If you're going to run and operate this beautiful bakery, and if you don't eat all your profits, you'll make about $75,000 a year in profit.
See, that's one thing. They do, and this is one of the advantages of being into the dessert business, is that you can do one thing, you can do it especially well, deliver on that premise again and again and again, and that gets the customer coming back. And you're right, no one can walk past a Cinnabon in a mall without thinking, should I have one? Should I carry them home for breakfast tomorrow?
Get a six-pack.
Yes.
Get a six-pack, absolutely. And, this is a great business also. If you are looking to become an American, get a green card in America, this is a great business for an E2 visa. It would qualify for that, and you will be and this is a very low staff. You have 2 people aside from you, so if you don't want to be in the business, you want to be in the business, and you don't want to have a lot of staff, this is a great fit for you. What else we have, Robin?
Well, I just want to expand on that point about an E2 visa, because a lot of folks may not realize this, but if you have a family member overseas or someone who wants to come into this country, and there's this line to get in because of visas, the E2 visa is the way that the State Department says this person's investing in America, so we're going to move them to the front of the line. And the Cinnabons that we have for sale, to your point, we have one offered at $175,000, another around $250,000. Both of those would satisfy the requirements for a visa. On top of that, you can't talk desserts without talking about yogurt stores.
Frozen yogurt, one of the favorite one. We have some in Jacksonville, Florida. This store is ready to go for you. Rent's about $3,000 a month. It's got a high traffic. It's got a lot of major retailers and grocery stores. The average income in the area is $72,000. So most of these families can afford to go spend $4 or $5 on a tasty cup of yogurt. And this can be yours. I mean, they cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to build. You can buy this, Robin, for $99,000.
I have another one at that same pricing in South Florida, and guess what? It's already approved for SBA lending.
Wow.
There are so many listings on our website, hundreds. If you go and take a look, you can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com. We also blog every single week about things going on in this industry, so you can catch up on what's happening in the restaurant business. This is Eric and Robin Gagnon, the Restaurant Brokers. We have been satisfying your appetite for acquisition, feeding the need for restaurant reality, and serving up your recipe for business success.